Well, we are excited. Let's get started with today's opening keynote. Please welcome Scott Amyx, Managing Partner at Astor Perkins. He's a VC, top 10 innovation keynote speaker, thought leader, nominated to the Economic Forum as a committee member for the Future Internet, presented at the ITU Telecom World United Nations, and has been featured on New York Times, Time, Forbes, The Washington Post, Wired, TechCrunch, and Pew Research. Let's welcome Scott.
Thank you so much, Kath. For those of you who can actually see the screen, these are my parents, David and Patricia Amyx. Can you see the resemblance? I have his gap teeth and I have her gentle eyes, and I even have his glasses as well. And when people ask me, who is my hero? They expect me to name a historic figure, or maybe an author, or an activist, or even a spiritual leader. But for me, it's my dad. And he was this funny-looking man, about 6'3", tall and lanky, and absolutely scrawny legs. And the man clearly skipped leg days in the gym. And yet, he had this huge pot belly and a Steven Seagal ponytail. So when you hugged him, all you felt was his pot belly. Well, he taught me how to drive, and he helped me to choose my car. He gave me dating advice, and he even gave me a very inappropriate book. He was from the 70s free love period. But what I remember most about him was that he made time to listen. It didn't matter what he did. If he sensed that there was something wrong or that I needed to talk, he would sit down to speak with me. Became an adult, he became my best friend. And my parents have since passed away in college. But the truth is that they were more than my parents. They were my heroes. They helped me to survive and become who I am today. At Astor Perkins, we celebrate heroes. We at Astor Perkins have these as our core values and guiding principles. And we help solve incredibly difficult problems facing our survival on Earth, space. And this requires deep technical and scientific knowledge and expertise. And we work with change agents, visionaries that are fundamentally challenging status quo. And together we are actively building the future. And we do it ethically and responsibly so we don't repeat the first industrial revolution and the negative externalities that we now face today. For every quarterly event, we evaluate over 500 startups from pre-seed all the way up to pre-IPO. We don't simply flip through pitch decks. We speak with them. We evaluate people and change agents. And we scrutinize their business model, their approach, their IP, financials, and go-to-market. And in the course of a year, we conduct in-depth due diligence on over 2,000 startups across sectors, life cycle, and maturity. And unlike other events where they have 100 startup pitches and most end up being duds, we flip the model so we focus on only a handful of the best for worth your time. Then you serve as the crowdsourced layer of VCs and family offices and institutionals who then add an additional layer of due diligence to find a few sparkling gems. In today's program, we have change agents, or who we call heroes, because they are challenging the status quo and introducing an entirely different approach that ultimately helps us to solve our greatest existential threats, our survival and longevity on Earth and in space. We have heroes such as Dr. Navia Saklian of Celino Biotech, who refuses to accept that business as usual way of developing tissues that are too cost prohibitive. And they're bringing inspiration from distant domains such as the semiconductor industry to enable tissue manufacturing in scale to drive down the cost of tissue development for stem cell therapies and regenerative medicine. Tony Martins of Plant-Based Foods is recognizing that our insatiable appetite for meat is killing our planet and killing us. And he's working with one of the most versatile plant-based proteins that can truly give us what we desire without compromises. Peng-Ru Lin with Turtle Tree Labs is saying no to dairy farms where each cow produces on average 37 kilos of waste every single day. Instead, Turtle Tree is producing safe, clean, cell-based milk and scale all without the negative greenhouse emissions and contamination of freshwater sources. Professor Winfried Hensinger from the University of Sussex asked the most basic question when it comes to quantum computing. Can it scale? Millions of dollars are being spent on many different approaches from quantum annealer, analog quantum to universal quantum. And from his lab, he has found out that's focusing on modular quantum computers that can practically and affordably scale. Dylan Taylor with Voyager Space Holdings is challenging the business model of running an aerospace company. He is bolting on capabilities to create a vertically integrated stack to compete nimbly with even the biggest DoD primes. James Powell with Dawn Aerospace believes that the approach to sending payload into space via rockets is too costly and inflexible. And he believes that by creating an aircraft that can take off and land from a standard airport can support thousands of space flights almost anytime, anywhere, at a fraction of today's launch cost. The MEMS sensor industry has not gone through a disruptive innovation for over 15 years. While CPUs and GPUs and custom AI processors have been innovating at breakneck speed, MEMS continue to use a pick-and-place model. And these in turn go into important sensors such as LiDARs that protect our lives, yet they fail after a few months or just a few years as they lose alignment and accuracy. Eric Aguilar of Omnitron Sensors is challenging the way we design and manufacture MEMS, all the while bringing down the cost significantly. MEMS, after all, goes into everything from our phones, our cars, satellites, to spaceships. These and others are heroes in their effort to solve our humanity's greatest challenges facing our survival on Earth and in space. Welcome to Astor Perkins, all things space and survival. Back to you, Catherine.
Scott, thank you so much for that opening keynote. What a great way to set the agenda for today.